So, hey everyone, thank you for joining. I'm really glad you're here. So today I've got a really special guest, and that is Melissa, and she's gonna share with you, what she's been up to and how she's helping families around Australia, and well, I'll let her introduce herself and tell you all about what she's up to. So, hey Melissa, how you going?
Hi, Gabriel. Thanks for having me.
It's really good to have you here. So yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself and and what you're up to.
Okay. So I'm the founder of the Australian Natural Nanny Network, which has just been a creation that I started this year, actually. And what led me to it is I've been working with children for a long time now. I'm 32 this year, and I've been a nanny and a teacher, and I've been part of natural learning programs. I run Bush Playgroup at the moment on the Mornington Peninsula. And all throughout my time in working with children and families, I really gotten to know my own approach and what I value in that work. And that's what's led me to craft this space, the Australian Natural Nanny Network, where families and nannies or caregivers who share philosophy around holistic parenting and natural and gentle parenting, things like positive discipline and parenting with more awareness and intention, can find one another. I've just found as a nanny, wherever I go with children, that people want my number and they want to know if they could hire me as their nanny. And I only have so many hours in a week as one person.
Yeah.
So I knew there had to be other nannies out there who had their own version of that approach. So I realised there was just a need for there to be a space where those people can find each other and work together with children. So that's what's led me to creating it.
Yeah, that's great. And I think, the more and more mums and parents really that are kind of thinking, oh, I really want someone that shares what we do and how we live in our family, and
Yeah.
it makes it tricky to find that kind of person.
Yes, definitely. And I keep hearing those stories as well. So that was another reason I was like, right, someone needs to do something.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm so glad that you did it. Like, I know when I had my little ones, I mean, they're still little, they're 3. Well, actually, no, he's just turned 4. So 4 and 6, like, I didn't know that this was even possible. Like I thought kind of nannies were for the wealthy, and that was it. You got an au pair from abroad, and that's really all I knew. So I'm really glad to share this, to show people that there is other things out there, and it's very much affordable and very much, it's there.
Yeah.
Cool. So what really inspired you, like, a bit more into that? Like, what kind of thought, I'm going to actually do this? Like, how did you get that push?
I think, do you know what I realised the other week? I was driving along and I was thinking, just reflecting on, since I left teaching, the journey I've been on of going within, that inner journey that you kind of get to at some stage sooner or later in life, of going in and reflecting and asking those questions about who I really am and what I really want to do. And there's been a lot of things along the way, projects that I thought that was what I wanted to do. For one reason or another, didn't work out or didn't unfold or just didn't happen. And what I realised, what's changed, what's shifted, is that A, this is something I'm so deeply passionate about, but B, what's shifted is I fully back myself now. Like, I fully back myself and I fully believe in myself, whether it works out or not. But what's interesting is that it is working out. And what the deeper passion underneath that's driving it is essentially my passion for empowering children. So I feel like if everyone in their life that's involved in caring for them is on the same page, and, parents and family are kind of, parents and nanny, if you're hiring a nanny, they're the people that spend every week with them.
Yeah.
And teachers and such, if they're at school. If you're on the same page, that's when they're going to feel most loved and be able to thrive, because they've got the space to engage in, you know, the play and experiences they need in order to develop and thrive and be most connected to themselves. So yeah, I saw this as a vehicle for that, for reaching more children than I can just being a nanny with one family at a time sort of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like our children are our future, and the best way that we can bring them up and have the best people around them is going to shape our future. So it's just so needed. It's awesome.
Yes, definitely. Exactly.
It's awesome. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like, you're right, like we all kind of get there at some point. We're all on our journey, and then suddenly we think, okay, we kind of wake up and you're like, okay, I'm doing this in my family, and if I'm going to have someone else in it, they have to be doing this too, because otherwise the kids get confused and getting different messages, totally different messages. Like,
Yes,
my,
absolutely.
yeah. When I put my daughter into a daycare, and that was the hardest thing I'd ever did. Like, it was, I had to go back to work quite early. And I'm putting her in this place which is full of all these, not that they're bad, but all these plastic toys, all these colors, and totally on a different wavelength to how she was at home. And it was just so hard, so hard. And in the end I did pull her out, and I found a family daycare, and that was the best I could get. That was what I found. I was like, okay, that she's still in a family environment, possibly not exactly sharing what I would share at home, but it was just that family unit, which was the next step. So having the nannies in the home, like what kind of when you're looking for nannies to join you, what are you kind of looking for in them?
I'm really looking for that they have that deep sense of self-awareness, so that I feel like when you're coming from that space, when you interact with children, you're responding to their needs and holding space for their needs, instead of, if you haven't sort of dealt with some of your stuff, like then you're more easily triggered, and you react to children instead of respond and meet their needs and nurture their needs and hold space. So I'm really looking for nannies who kind of are on that journey of self-awareness, so that they're coming into the situation with that compassion and empathy, I suppose, and the ability to hold that space for the children they're working with, as well as just having an open mind, because everyone, like holistic parenting, like while certain values come to mind, there's also very different expressions within that for different families. So just being open-minded. That if you go into a family where they're choosing to eat, they're vegan, or they're choosing to have a raw lifestyle, that they're open-minded enough that it's not too weird. That the family doesn't feel, I'm hearing from a lot of families that choose some aspects of life different from the mainstream. They've had nannies come in and just, look at them like they're an alien, or just be weirded out and obviously be uncomfortable, with whatever choice it is. There's, that can look like lots of different things. So self-awareness, being open-minded and supportive of decisions, that families are making that might be against a mainstream or different to mainstream. They're really two of the main things, as well as just being warm and nurturing. I can just get a feel from them straight away when I chat with them like this, I'm very intuitive with the process as well, because I'm quite intuitive with people, so that comes into it too.
Awesome. I can just it makes so much difference having someone in your house that understands your values, and it's not kind of just playing the game with them. It's like, okay, I'll make this vegan food, but I don't really get it, or that makes a huge difference. Because I feel children will feel that energy too. So that's cool. So what kind of what other philosophies, like my children go into a Steiner school, so we kind of bring up at home, we still keep that flow. So what kind of other philosophies are you looking that the nannies will be connected with?
Probably nannies that are happy, if you're a family who's baby wearing, who's happy to continue that in their time,
Oh,
so that
wow,
baby's
yeah.
getting what they need. You know, if you're, you know, baby wearing, keeping baby close, what you're choosing to eat, so that they're not going to give your child a Tim Tam or a McDonald's burger or
Yeah.
something that you just wouldn't give them.
Yeah.
Attachment parenting, which is very much about coming back to intuition in parenting. So that's why it's important that the nanny's also connected to their intuition. And all of that encompasses what that encompasses. So listening to their intuition, as well as checking in with how parents would approach the different things that come up, being able to trust their own intuition. What else? Positive discipline.
Yeah.
So not having the authoritarian approach, but I suppose, and every situation is different as well in how you would react to it, but having that awareness, or at least open to learning. Positive discipline. I think I've covered everything. What else? Yeah, just baby wearing, co-sleeping. Actually, I've had a few families ask if the nanny would be comfortable with, say there's a baby who has a day's sleep.
Yeah.
That sometimes needs the parent to lay down with them, you know, and that the nanny's happy to lay down with them for them to get to sleep. That sort of, just being open to their needs.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Because, you know, it's not so much now, but it's a community that brings up a child, and to have that nanny's going to, you know, hopefully live with them long term, and they're going to be part of the family. So
yeah. And even if they're not a live-in nanny, if they're spending time in your house every week, that has an impact and an imprint on sort of, you know, on your, especially if your children are below 7, that's going to be that's going to contribute to their blueprint or their template that they use to operate with the world for the rest of their life. So it's important. It's very important. So yeah, that's
huge. It's huge. And many people don't realize that. I would love actually if you'd share a little bit about, you know, from birth to 7, like those important years. Like, what could you share with us about that?
That from that time, we're like a sponge, and we're literally, everything that we experience in our environment, we're soaking it in like a sponge, and we're creating neural pathways and making meaning from all the things that we experience. And the meaning that we make from all the things that we experience become the beliefs that shape our template for what we make that mean about the larger world. So, and although that there are modalities and ways that you can rewire that and reprogram that, which, you know, is what I'm going through now, which a lot of us are going through.
Yeah.
It would be much better if you don't have to rewire. There's a lot of stuff you don't need to rewire in the first place later in life.
Oh, how perfect.
I mean, you know, no one's perfect and there's still going to be stuff, but you would think that, you know, if we're learning and evolving, that the next generation has less stuff than we had to have to reprogram in order to live a successful, happy and fulfilling, you know, self-connected life.
Yeah.
You know, when they're able to contribute positively to the community and be fulfilled in life. So yeah, definitely.
A lot of my clients, we go back to childhood, so, and we find what happened then, and we work, there's different change work that we do to help that. But and there's, I often think, you know, what are my kids going to go back to? Like, what did I do, you know? So the least that we can affect them negatively, or, you know, not so much negatively, but, you know, the least we can affect them or give them the best, like, you know, we can only do our best. But if we've got the people surrounding them as well, other than us, and also on that same wavelength, then it's positive.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. So, do the nannies have to have a certain amount of experience, or what's the kind of?
That's something that I kind of take every everyone's kind of makeup of what they've done and what they've experienced and who they are is so unique. So it depends on the person is what I'm trying to say. You know, if it's a person who they haven't nannied before, they're just starting out, but they've got all this stuff, you know, they might have been raised going to Steiner school and in one sense they've already got experience even though they haven't worked as a nanny. So it just depends on the person and what their collection of experiences are to date in terms of whether they're able to offer.
Yeah, that's really important.
What they have to offer as a gift to a family.
Yeah. So do you have many nannies from overseas?
Yes, I've got about 5 au pair applications. So I am advertising for au pair and offering that as an opportunity for families who are seeking that. But the way that I'm choosing to run it is not to employ nannies. So it will be that the nannies are working for themselves and the family and nanny can negotiate that together. Because I've found when I've worked before for agencies as a nanny, I found it to be very rigid and limiting and structured in terms of how I could operate and how much I would be able to earn per hour, because they're oftentimes taking, you know, money out of your hourly rate and that sort of thing. So it's more empowering for the nanny, I feel, but also it makes more sense to have that direct communication between the nanny and the family to get onto the same page rather than have someone in the middle. So
Okay, cool. So you've worked for other agencies.
Yes.
You've kind of got, you know, information from how things, you know, things that were good, things that weren't so good.
Yes. And I've pulled that into how I'm choosing to run this.
Okay, cool. Tell me a little bit more about how it works then.
I also Skype every family and every nanny who want to join. So I must meet every person before they become a member.
Yeah.
That just ensures that I'm attracting the people that I want to attract to be part of the community, to make sure it's a safe space.
Yeah.
But also it means if I'm meeting every person, I'm more effectively able to match them with their regular nanny. So I match the nanny and family for regular jobs that are sort of every week.
Yeah.
But then every member gets added to the private Facebook group as well for networking. So if you want casual work or casual nannies, you're able to network to find that as well outside of your regular nanny.
Yeah.
But also if you're just wanting to network, you know, to find other families in your area to get together with who are like-minded.
Oh, perfect. So that's
or nannies who might want to get together with other nannies for support, or it's just to be a community and a network that actually is able to support one another in a safe space. And that could unfold, you know, to look like lots of different things depending on what people are looking for from that experience. So
it's beautiful. Yeah, you're creating a new community of like-minded people.
Yes.
That's amazing. Like it kind of could just evolve into so much.
That's right, exactly. Exciting.
It's really exciting. I'm so happy for you. It's just beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah. And for families who are just looking for that extra support, I think something else that I'm noticing is there are people sitting at home thinking like no one else thinks that way. So it's to help people find other people, to realise they're not alone and realise how many people actually are making these choices and moving away from mainstream. Like it's not as such a small group as we think. There's a lot more people out there than we think as well. So yeah, I'm
definitely noticing that.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I've moved into an area which there's a lot of like-minded people, and it's like, wow, this is cool. And you know, I can actually make, just silly example, but for Easter, like carob chocolates, and we went to an Easter hunt, and I didn't have to like check. I was like, is there sugar in that? Is this and that? Is it okay? Are you using almond milk? And you know, just all this kind of choices that I'd made, and I was like, wow, I don't need to worry. I'm connected. Just really, really cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, very special. So it's kind of a unique place that I'm living in, but even before that, like I had to check, and then I felt bad. I was like, oh, I don't want to ask all these questions. It's okay, I'll just let them do it today. And then I feel bad, and it's, you know, it doesn't sit well, you know, so just perfect that you can connect that. That's cool. So how do families find you, or yeah, how do families find you and then, you know, start connecting to have an interview?
So there's my website, but I'm also part of a lot of groups on Facebook, and every time I see the opportunity to join one so that I can share with people, I am. So a lot of the groups around vaccine choice I'm part of, or natural parenting or gentle parenting. I'm in all those sorts of groups, and I'm sharing regularly about what's happening. Yeah. So, but I also have an ad on Gumtree, so that families and nannies can find it. So they're the main avenues at the moment, and as well as my website. So
right.
Yeah.
Cool. And we'll put your website details on here so people can connect with you, which would be great.
Yeah, and then just sending me an email from there, so that I can reply to their questions, and I send them a link to book in to have a meeting.
Oh, that's great. And you've got, I've just had a little look on your website, you've got, like, you know, frequent asked questions. So if someone's curious, they can kind of go on there and discuss out what you're doing and have a look through those questions if they've got any queries, which is great.
Yes, definitely.
Perfect. And you touched a bit on, like, the affordability. So the nanny's actually negotiating with the parent to organise the pay and things like that. So you're just kind of connecting them.
Yeah.
That's how your business works. So there's, like, does a fee go to you? Like,
so I charge a membership. So I charge a membership fee for each family and each nanny. So I have it tiered for 3 months, 6 months, and a year.
Right.
So that you know, you might only need, it might be that you need support just for 3 months whilst you're having surgery or something like that. So I've got different options. But at the moment I'm running 6 months free membership just to help build the numbers, because it is still growing and building. So and it gives people an opportunity to just try it out and see what unfolds. And then at the end of 6 months, if they choose to continue the relationship, they can look at the membership options as well. But another option I have for affordability is nanny share, where a nanny can share, depending on their qualifications, they can share up to 4 or 5 children and run a nanny share session.
Wow.
So, and the families can share the cost of the nanny. So some people might be looking for that experience opposed to their child being at home just with the nanny anyway, for social reasons. So that's an option for people as well, for affordability, but also obviously benefits to the child as well.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'm like, oh man, I wish I'd found this before. Which is why I'm sharing it, because it's just perfect. You don't know what you don't know, and I think creating is beautiful. Let me think.
And it's not limited to those things either. I'm open to it growing and evolving as it needs to, and as, you know, whatever unfolds in terms of what the community and the network are needing in terms of how it,
there's space for it to grow and change.
Exactly. Yeah.
And not everyone has space in their house for someone to live in. So the fact that you're offering this other, you know, group is, it's perfect. It's perfect for so many.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of different parents have shift work and all that kind of thing. So different starting times to a regular daycare or a family daycare even. It sounds like you've got all the bases covered.
Yeah.
So people have choices.
Yeah. Because you could also even network with other parents and just that are like-minded.
Yeah.
And if you get to know them and trust them, you can swap care. So it's not just about hiring a nanny either. It's just just to be a community that supports one another.
That's cool. So how else can you see it evolving? Like what else could you see coming out of this?
I would be really excited to see communities being strengthened, so people being able to find their local people. So because I'll give you an example. The bush play group that I run down here on the peninsula, last term, from the start of term to the end of term, the sense of community and the connections that deepened throughout the 9 weeks was just like to the point where they met up in the holidays, you know, the families and the children. Like I would really love for those to see those sort of connections happening, especially people who think they're alone.
Yeah.
Or think, because it can feel lonely on this journey where you're going against the stream, that because most people don't get it I suppose at this point.
Yeah.
So just to find other people and find those connections and find it within their community, their physical community, as well as the online, but physically.
Yeah.
Just reach out and realise they're not alone, but also that allows for more growth when we find others who get us and are on the same page.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the creation of communities is the part that I'm excited about,
Yeah.
and what that means for the children as well, in terms of opportunity for learning and discovering more of who they are, because they've got that community around them who's able to allow for that.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think a lot of parents and families that are, you know, changing their lifestyle, it is a lot of online stuff. So you're connecting with people. So like you said, you feel quite alone. So so bringing people, you know, into that space offline is just, it's going to be amazing for the kids.
Yeah.
Because it's like sometimes I have my children with different families, and then it's like, oh, we don't do things this way, or sorry, you can't have that. And it's like, oh, we don't say no to them. So it's really tricky, really tricky.
Yeah. And I'd also love to, when the numbers allow for it, is I would love to actually run networking events. I would love to go around to, you know, around the country essentially, and actually run networking events and get people together, really just to connect and get to know one another and just share, I suppose, the sharing of resources, the different things everyone's doing in this realm of wanting to change how we do life and how we do family life. So yeah, that's another little idea kind of in the background of a vision that I have as well.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. So I guess more to like with the children, like how is this type of care really going to benefit them?
Well, essentially being able to, sorry, my throat's a bit funny today. Being able to find a nanny who gets them, who's able to work alongside with their parents in a way that, because not everyone has all the answers. So the way I see it is the nanny and the families both have ideas to share with one another to work together for the benefit of the children.
Yeah.
So things that parents might be banging their head up against that they're trying to change, or they don't know how to change, or they think can't be any different. If a professional is coming into that space with some ideas or some suggestions or things to try, because you may as well, then the children are going to benefit from that, because they're going to build their skill base. That, you know, just skills in terms of building emotional intelligence, or how to navigate in, you know, when they're experiencing intense emotion like a tantrum, things like that. Skills for socializing, just all of that. So they'll have access to more resources that they can build within themselves. Hopefully it means mum and dad are less stressed because they've got someone they can trust in the time that they're not there. So yes, exactly. And obviously that impacts on the children. So if in their time with the nanny they're getting their needs met, they're having their space held for their learning, all of that good stuff, then they're happier when mum and dad come home, and hopefully that impacts on family life as well, and the flow of everything in that sense. So having their needs met, opportunity to learn, access to more resources, the opportunity, I suppose, just to build another solid relationship with another adult who can support them and love them. Obviously a nanny doesn't replace mum and dad, it's almost just like an extension. you know.
Yeah. And it's normal, and that's how it used to be. And like having that extra person around, like for us, we moved over from England, so it's just us, my husband, and there's no extended family. That's, sometimes I get quite sad, because I'm like, when I grew up, I had all my cousins around me. I go and visit my auntie and uncle, and they don't have that. And I'm like, how is that going to affect them? I don't know. That's something that will happen in the future. But we were lucky to have a family daycare before we moved, and it was like their second family. That was their own. They had a daughter and a son, so they had that a little bit. So it really makes a difference. Yeah.
And some people are in a similar situation to you, where you don't have extended family around, and then there are people in a situation where they do have extended family around, but don't share some key things like food, discipline. Those really key things aren't necessarily on the same page. So, some people are lucky enough that their family, that is their family, and that would be amazing. But not everyone has that.
I understand that.
So
I have a lot of friends who have that, even just like no TV, and then they'll go to their grandparents' house, the TV's on the whole day, and they're getting sweets and stuff, and it's like, I don't do that, but I have to let go. But it's tricky, because you don't, it's just really tricky. Like,
I know. Because there are things like that don't have as much impact, that you can let go, but then there are things that, like if we come back to talking about that blueprint that's being formed, it's pretty important. So
and it's nice, like, just a silly example, but maybe the parents aren't very, they aren't very creative, like art-wise or something, and the nanny wants art, like the child's still going to get that in as home, and it's just little things that make a huge difference.
Everyone has their own little, package of gifts that they have to share.
Oh, that's beautiful. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious, but what kind of drives you to keep going with this?
Just every time I get someone emails me and says thank you for creating this, I think, okay, keep going. So just seeing that it's needed and being received helps motivate me to keep going. But also underneath all of that, just the fact that like I said, it's a vehicle that allows me to reach more children than I could without it. Or just me with working with one family at a time, if that makes sense. So also meeting people, like meeting you today, having this conversation I wouldn't have otherwise had. And each nanny that I've met they've just been beautiful. And same with every family that I've met. So that keeps me going as well, because I'm meeting these beautiful, amazing people who are we're on the same page, and I can see it, coming together and building. So it's all of that.
And it kind of just gives you that faith that there is a change happening.
Yes.
It's special.
Special.
Do you have any kind of inspirational, like, thought leaders or inspirational people that you've kind of looked to as a mentor type thing?
Probably I'm a little bit obsessed with learning. I'm always kind of watching and reading and stuff. It's not just one person whose stuff I'm always is, but there is a woman called Danella who, she's not like, a thought leader or famous person, or she is in, the realm that she's within. Who's just someone I know personally, and she's amazing. She's like this wise elder. We've kind of lost that in our society, this concept of older people holding that wisdom and passing it down. Where I've had the opportunity to spend time with her and ask her questions, and she works with early childhood, and yeah, she's very much a mentor to me. Just in her level of awareness is just, I'll ask her a question and she just blows my mind with her response of how to approach that.
Yeah.
And she's actually part of the group for that reason. She's part of the private Facebook group because of her depth of wisdom is amazing. So, yeah.
Yeah, we underestimate our elders. Well, we have done. I know now that things are changing, but yeah, that's huge. Which actually makes me question, do you have any older women or nannies? Actually, yeah, female and male, I'm guessing.
Yes, I'm receiving applications from, because I'm very open to that as well. Say someone just being, you know, that all of their children have left home and they're looking to work again, and they've got this, you don't have to have this piece of paper to say, I'm qualified in childcare and you can be a nanny. I consider being a parent or grandparent as an unofficial qualification, because obviously, especially if you're on the journey of increasing your awareness and wanting to grow, you've got a lot to offer. And obviously you have a lot of understanding, knowledge about children's needs and family life and all of that stuff. So people keep asking me whether they need to be qualified. I keep saying no. So like, we are, you know, in so many ways we're qualified, and sometimes a piece of paper helps, but also it's deeper than that as well. So yes, I'm open. I'm receiving interest from grandmas looking to be a nanny, and I think that's really important. So I encourage people to apply even if they don't have the piece of paper.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you shared that, because that would hold a few people back for sure.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, I love the thought of having a grandma coming in. That's so awesome.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And it's another way of closing that gap as well. Yeah.
Is there anything else that you think that we haven't mentioned that would be really useful to share?
I think we've covered everything. Nothing comes up in this moment. I'm pretty sure we've covered everything.
Yeah. I guess I'm just thinking just really how, you know, you've shared like how much it's going to benefit the children, and really it's about them at the end of the day. I mean, it's nice to build the connections, you know, be able to have a nice connection with your nanny and be able to share that. But for the kids, it's about them. We're shaping their future. And
yes, exactly. And the flow on of the flow and effect of that as well to the world as well is really key. If we want anything to change.
So I'm guessing like it's pretty, like all days are going to be different. You can't really give me like a typical day. I guess. Because each care is going to be different for each family. So.
Do you want an idea of sort of the role of a nanny, or?
Yeah, share that. That'll be great.
Yeah. Well, really the key role as a nanny is keeping the children safe and happy, and so making sure they're fed, making sure they're stimulated, challenged, you know, as needed and as necessary. You know, a really simple example of that is being at the park and they're trying to climb the ladder. Instead of, you know, just picking them up and putting them at the top of the ladder, you're letting them have a go, but being nearby if they need your support. Just little challenges like that pop up, the opportunity for. So making sure they're stimulated, challenged, fed, happy, that their needs are met, you're holding space for their learning and growth. And then beyond that, and what I've always tried to do as a nanny is I keep the house as I've found it. So tidying up the toys area, which depending on the ages of the children, you might be teaching them to do that with you as well, which is another way of challenging them and encouraging them to gradually have more responsibility. So yeah, putting toys away, cleaning up the dishes, just the little things that are directly child related. So you leave the house as you found it, but beyond, and I feel like some people ask whether, you know, can the nanny do housework as well, like some mopping and vacuuming and things like that. And I don't feel that that's a key role of a nanny,
Mm-hmm.
because that takes away from their focus from the children.
Yeah.
But of course, like I said, every situation is different. So if it's a baby that sleeps for 2 hours and there's no other children, you've got, you know, you may as well do something extra in that 2 hours. So you might mop and vacuum. Do you know what I mean? So like every situation, like you said, will be different, and you'll probably negotiate that together, and each day might be different of what you want the nanny to do in that time, or however that looks. So that's why it's so important to communicate directly as well, I feel, so that you can make sure you're both happy.
Yeah.
So the family is happy with their nanny, and the nanny has job satisfaction because you're communicating, making sure you're working together.
Yeah.
Because doing those little things as well has a flow and effect to the family life being more connected and less stressed out than if you leave the house in a mess.
Yeah. That's going to help. I think it's great because the nannies, maybe it's their first job, but possibly they've come from other families. So they've also got other ideas on how things might work, you know?
Yes.
Like, for example, toilet training, you might be having trouble with that. And
yes.
you know, the nanny's going to come with different ideas and might help. So you're not like, pulling your hair out. It's just that support, which we all need. And we kind of forget we can't do everything on our own as much as we want to. Like
Exactly. Yes. And actually that brings up another point. So something I encourage everyone to do, because family life gets busy, and I've often found I don't ever get to sit down with families and chat about what's happening. So I encourage everyone to sit down. Maybe it might be that once a fortnight your nanny stays for an extra half an hour or hour, whatever's needed, where you actually sit down. It can be with one parent or both or whatever, and just actually talk and connect. And this is what's happening. How do you approach it? What do you have any ideas? Because I'm like, it might be either of you that are struggling with something.
Yes.
You might have suggestions to offer one another. You might have feedback to offer. You might have celebrations that you want to share. Just to keep that relationship and connection and make sure you're on the same page. So regularly checking in. And I Skype every 2 months we do a 3-way Skype, because that's another way to encourage the communication to stay open. And of course, again, the child will feel that and feel more loved and safe and cared for, and all of that as a result. Yeah.
It's great. It's just great. So you're interviewing the parents, the nannies, encouraging them to, you know, to talk through what's happening in the family.
Yep.
Bringing people together that are like-minded.
Yep.
And they can be live in, live out, which is awesome. And then possibly having more than one child from different families together.
Yep.
It's just great. And I actually have to connect with you for myself.
Yes.
I'm like, why am I not doing this? It's great. Thank you.
That's all right. Thank you for the opportunity. It's been really beautiful chatting with you.
Absolutely. And I really hope this is a share, because the people that are going to be watching this are possibly parents with young children, couples trying to get pregnant and kind of the future, and just women as well in general seem to be in this group too. So it's it's great for them to share that. They can share that with their friends if it's not for themselves, and just really getting that information out there. So I'm really appreciative that you spent the time with us, and just let us know your website, and I'll put them in the notes anyway, but just let us know how people can find you.
Yeah, so it's www.naturalnannynetwork.com.au. But if you Google Natural Nanny Network, it pops up as one of or on Facebook. I have a Facebook page as well. So if you type in on Facebook, Australian Natural Nanny Network, it'll pop up as one of the first couple pages.
Perfect.
Because I've got the public page, and then the private group is the members only part, so I can keep it safe.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Great. I'm seeing it going international as well.
People keep saying that. I'm like, okay.
You're like, hold on, let me just get this sorted here first. All right, thank you so much. Take care.
That's okay. Thank you.